Hello students, today we'll solve some typical question from GoodSet 2009 board paper. We'll start with the question number 8. I'll read the question. An infinite straight current carrying conductor is bent in such a way that a circular loop found on it as shown in the figure. If this radius of the loop is r, the magnetic field at the center of the loop is dash. So there is an infinite wire PQ which is bent in the circular loop. We want to find out magnetic field at the center of the ring. Now this is long infinite straight wire is converted into two parts. I consider this wire into two segments. First will be an infinite wire and second will be a ring. So first of all we'll find out for the ring what will be magnetic field at the center of the ring. The formula of magnetic field at the center of the current carrying ring is mu 0 I upon 2r, and as the direction of magnetic field is anti-clockwise, the direction of current is anti-clockwise, so magnetic field will be radially outward. As per right hand thumb rule, the magnetic field will be circled with a dot. So B1 vector, that is magnetic field at the center of ring, is given as mu 0 I upon 2r, and the magnetic field will be radially outward. For infinite wire, as the current is going in this direction, so magnetic field above the point P will be also coming radially outward, and magnetic field due to infinite wire is given as mu 0 I upon 2 pi y, or else over here that y is the perpendicular distance, that is radius of the ring is r. Again magnetic field will be radially outward. As both the magnetic field are in same direction, total magnetic field will be added to mu 0 I upon 2r plus mu 0 I upon 2 pi r. Taking out mu 0 I upon 2r common, that will be 1 plus 1 by pi. Taking the ratio of pi, that will be mu 0 I upon 2 pi r into bracket 1 plus pi. Now multiplying divided by 2, that will be 2 mu 0 I upon 4 pi r into bracket 1 plus pi, and circle with a dot which indicates resultant magnetic field will be also in vertically upward direction. So correct option will be C. Now next, 19th question. Dear student, in 19th question, actually the question printed is wrong. The actual question must be like this: electrically an isolated p-type semiconductor is dash, and the option will be A, neutral. Sorry, over here the correct option will be A. So electrically an isolated p-type semiconductor, or else whether it is a question for n-type semiconductor, correct option will be A, neutral. So in 19 the correct question is electrically isolated p-type semiconductor is dash. Next we'll proceed with 24th question. It is given that consider three concentric shells A, B and C having a radii a, small b and small c respectively. Their surface charge densities are plus sigma, minus sigma, plus sigma respectively. Calculate the electric potential on the surface of shell A. So there are three concentric shell A, shell B and shell C with the radius small a, small b, small c, and with the surface charge density plus sigma, minus sigma, plus sigma. We want to find out electric potential on shell A. Now first of all, on shell A, potential will be created due to the surface charge density of shell A, plus potential will be created due to surface charge density of shell B, plus potential will be created due to surface charge density of shell C. So potential at point A on shell A will be equal to VA plus VB plus VC. But what is the potential formula in terms of surface charge density? So we know that potential on the surface of shell or sphere is given as kq by r, but charge can be written as sigma into a, and area of a shell is 4 pi r square. So one r cancel, taking k equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 into sigma into 4 pi into r, 4 pi cancel. To potential in terms of surface charge density will be sigma r upon epsilon 0. The potential on surface A from the center, that will be distance a, so sigma a, radius will be a upon epsilon 0, surface charge density plus VB, that is at the center due to potential surface due to surface B, that is minus sigma into B, radius B upon epsilon 0, and similarly sigma C by epsilon 0. Taking sigma upon epsilon 0 common, the remaining term into bracket will be A minus B plus C. Correct option will be A. Then next, question number 37. It is given that what is the difference of angular momenta of an electron between two consecutive orbits in hydrogen atom? So as per Bohr's second hypothesis, angular momentum is given as nh upon 2 pi. So I consider for nth orbit the angular momentum is nh upon 2 pi, and for one higher orbit, that is angular momentum for n plus 1th orbit equals to n plus 1 h upon 2 pi. So the difference between angular momentum between the two consecutive orbit will be n plus 1 into h upon 2 pi minus nh upon 2 pi. nh upon 2 pi, nh upon 2 pi will be cancelled, and the answer will be h upon 2 pi. Option number D. Thank you.